Harold, the president of our client, said while sipping champagne from his glass.
Anyone who's late and incompetent is out of the question. It ruins a fabulous day, so just leave now. From now on, not just you, but also don't expect any socializing between our companies.
I had reached my limit. Indeed, if I was told that I was disqualified as an office worker, I might be right. However, dealing with someone like Harold would crush our employees as well. Our company has no choice but to explore a different path. I clenched my fist tightly and tried to leave the venue. Then, there was a strange sight in the parking lot visible from the glass-walled venue. Despite me being the last one at the party, black luxury cars kept appearing one after another as if escorting a VIP. The venue started buzzing with what was about to unfold. A few minutes later, a man in his 60s wearing a fancy suit and his attendant entered the venue. They approached Harold with polite manners and spoke. "My name is Aaron Johnson. I've been working for over 20 years at a manufacturer that produces automobile parts. It's a job dealing with a part of the parts, so it doesn't stand out particularly. And many people who don't know my company are among my acquaintances. Among my classmates, there are many who work for international companies or major corporations, so I often get ridiculed when I go to class reunions. However, when I think that the products we make are essential for the completion of cars running through the streets, no matter how inconspicuous they are, I can take pride in my work. After all, no matter how splendid vehicles or buildings are, they are supported by invisible parts made by small companies. It's because I can feel such things that work is not easy. But I have been able to continue with a sense of fulfillment until today. However, recently, the outlook for our company has become uncertain. Harold, who newly assumed the position of president of our client, is a person who makes unreasonable orders with little regard for the other party's circumstances. On the day Harold assumed the presidency, I promptly went to greet him. For small subcontracting companies like ours, the performance can change dramatically with just one word from Harold's company, which places large orders. Building a good relationship with Harold is a crucial part of my job. Having worked in this company for many years and even reached a managerial position. Since our president fell, I've been taking on the role of coordinating between employees and the president, as well as making rounds of greetings to the companies we rely on. So, I'm used to meeting people outside the company as the face of our company. After exchanging greetings with a gift in hand, Harold stopped me as I was about to leave. Then, from the back, he brought out some documents and made an unreasonable demand.
Aaron, about the parts we're currently ordering, don't you think the delivery time is a bit too late?
His tone was mild, but behind it, I could feel the pressure of hurry up. Since they are a major client ordering parts, I couldn't be too rude, but I had to clearly convey the difficulty. Carefully choosing my words, I began to explain. I understand what you are saying very well. It could have a significant impact on the production line, so we want to respond to your request as much as possible from our side. But I straightened my back. This is where it gets crucial. I have to somehow get Harold to understand. At our scale, the current speed is our limit. We've been striving for efficiency and delivering more quickly than before. But any further would put too much strain not only on our employees, but also on the machinery. Before I could finish my sentence, Harold waved the documents as if he didn't want to hear it.
That's just an excuse. We use your parts to make products and ship them from our factories. Subcontractors are supposed to say yes to whatever, right?
His condescending tone about subcontracting companies irritated me. but getting emotional here wouldn't do any good. I restrained myself and continued to explain politely. I deeply apologize. We'd like to explore further efficiency in our operations. Unfortunately, we cannot introduce equipment in this year's budget. So for now, I hope you can understand this deadline. Harold's company is also a subcontractor that delivers parts to automobile companies. If we explain politely, we should be able to understand each other's situations. However, I was soon to realize that such thinking was naive.
All right, let's do this.
Harold approached me and whispered,
By tomorrow. If you can procure these parts by tomorrow, I'll have to reconsider our future dealings.
I couldn't believe my ears. Even with the original deadline just a week away, he was demanding it be done by tomorrow? It's beyond ridiculous. Wait a minute. Isn't that too much? Even the original deadline is cutting it close for us. Please reconsider. But Harold turned his back without even listening to my words. There's no time to waste, feeling dejected. I hurried back to the company. Upon returning, I immediately got to work. I explained the situation to the employees and asked for their cooperation, even those who could work overtime. I could see from their expressions that they thought it was absolutely impossible to achieve. However, without a single complaint, they accepted my request. As the date was about to change, the machines kept running, and the employees kept working hard, sweating away. Thank you. I'll stay behind so everyone else can go home. You've done enough. I'm sure he'll understand. I said gratefully to them while looking at the completed parts. They all have families and their own lives. I felt guilty that they had gone this far to accommodate Harold's unreasonable demands and my plea. However, despite our efforts, the anticipated amount was not enough. The employees, looking apologetic, started getting ready to leave following my words. The next day, I headed to Harold's office with the documents. I've come to inform you that we can deliver the parts today, I say with a sense of determination. To be honest, I was at my physical limit. In the end, I worked all night until morning, prepared the documents, and came here to report. Harold himself probably hasn't even considered the possibility that we can deliver. At least he might acknowledge the effort. If he can feel our passion for the work, maybe he'll change his approach to our relationship in the future. With such faint hope, I visited Harold's office. But he dismisses me coldly without even looking at the documents I prepared.
So, can you keep the promise you made yesterday? Just answer, yes or no.
Surely, he must be joking. Unable to respond, I remain silent. Harold chuckles and adds,
If you can answer, that means it was impossible. I believed in you, but I'm disappointed. I'll contact you about the future. You can go home now.
With that, he crumples the documents I brought, tosses them to me, and walks away. I clench my fist and shake my arms. However, our major client is Harold's company. If I lose my temper here, our employees might end up in trouble. Harold's company, under the direction of the former president, shifted its policy from merely wholesaling automobile parts to expanding its production lines to other industries, which led to a significant increase in the company's scale. Our company and Harold's are completely different in scale. If we break ties, it will be our company that fails. Understanding this, he probably says such absurd things to me. I sincerely apologize for the inconvenience caused this time. I apologized to him and left there. A few days later, while working in the office, an employee rushes to me in a panic. He holds a single sheet of paper, and it's obvious that something bad is written on it. I received a printed email from an employee saying, "Take a look at this." The sender was Harold's company. The message, accompanied by his name, read as follows:
Thanks for the recent delivery. However, the quantity doesn't match our contract, which puts us in a difficult position. Since we heard that future deliveries will continue at the same pace, we'll have to lower the unit price. I've written down the details below, so please refer to them in the future.
As I looked at the table below the text, I was shocked. Although it's appreciated that they'll continue ordering the same quantity, the unit price has been reduced by almost half. This is clearly not financially viable. Some other employees probably already saw the email and know the situation. They're looking at my face with concern. I reassured them in a loud voice. "Don't worry. We'll definitely sort this out. There won't be any impact on your salaries. For now, just keep working at the same pace as before." Upon hearing my words, the employees seemed relieved and refocused on their tasks. However, I couldn't help but feel uneasy inside. Trying to reform Harold, with his indifferent personality, seemed like an impossible task. At this rate, the company might collapse. Should I cut the employees' salaries? No, it's not feasible to reduce salaries during this recession. Besides, the request is so significant that a slight reduction wouldn't suffice. As I pondered over what to do, I found myself without an answer. The following week, I reluctantly made my way to a party I had no interest in attending. It's a party hosted by Harold. He held a grand event, inviting subcontracting companies to his birthday party. Originally, the president of our company and I were supposed to attend from our company. But our company's president has been in poor health for several years now and couldn't make it today either. Therefore, today I'm attending alone. Honestly, I'm not really keen on it, but maybe I can build a good relationship with Harold in a situation like this. With a faint hope in my heart, I walked through the bustling downtown area after getting off the taxi. Then, I noticed a precarious bicycle approaching behind a woman walking in front of me. In an instant, something happened after I thought, "That's dangerous." The wobbly bike slightly collided with the woman, causing her to lose balance and fall onto the road. "Watch out!" I shouted instinctively as my body moved unconsciously. A car was approaching from behind the woman. I ran desperately toward her, but I knew I wouldn't make it in time. It's too late. Just as I thought that, the car swerved at the last moment and drove away. "Are you okay?" I quickly helped the woman up from the road back onto the sidewalk and asked. She grimaced while holding her elbow but shook her head, indicating she was okay. "You're injured, aren't you? Does your elbow hurt? Here, if you don't mind, please hold on to this clean one I haven't used yet," I offered, extending my handkerchief to her and guiding it onto her elbow. I opened a bottled water that I hadn't yet drunk from, pouring it over her elbow and wiping it with the handkerchief.
"Oh, ouch. Thank you. I'm okay now."
"Please be patient a little longer to avoid getting germs." While I administered the simple treatment, she continued to grimace. After finishing the simple treatment, I stood up. "Can you walk? I have something to attend to afterward, so I must leave now. I believe you'll be fine, but if it continues to hurt, please go to the hospital," I said as I started to leave, but she called me back.
"Well, thank you very much. May I ask for your name? I'm sorry to bother you when you're busy, but could I have your business card or something?"
She was probably in her mid-20s, yet she was polite. I handed him my business card and said, "Take care. before leaving the scene. By the time I arrived at the venue, it was packed with people. From the glass-walled venue, I could see the parking lot and a beautiful garden. Checking my watch as I hurried toward Harold after finishing the reception, I realized I was a minute past the reception end time. "Harold, congratulations on today. I apologize for the late greeting," I said politely, but Harold looked at me with a cold gaze.
"Oh, you're quite late. Everyone else came to greet me. What were you doing?"
"I'm sorry. I had some trouble on the way." I started to explain encountering an accident, but it sounded like an excuse. In an effort to avoid any bad impressions, I deliberately didn't go into specifics, but Harold still had some snide remarks.
As a working professional, it's only natural to anticipate and prepare for trouble. But because someone like that is in a management position, your company's work is probably slow,"
Harold said as he sipped champagne from his glass.
"Anyone who's late and incompetent is out of the question. It ruins a fabulous day, so just leave now. From now on, not just you, but also don't expect any socializing between our companies."
I had reached my limit. Indeed, if I was told that I was disqualified as an office worker, I might be right. However, dealing with someone like Harold would crush our employees. From now on, our company will have to explore a different path. "I see. Then I'll leave now." As I turned on my heel, Harold's voice from behind remarked, "You're quite incompetitive." I clenched my fist tightly and tried to leave the venue. Then, an unusual sight caught my eye in the parking lot visible from the glass-walled venue. Despite me being the last attendee of the party, black luxury cars appeared one after another as if escorting a VIP. The venue began to buzz with anticipation of what was about to happen. A few minutes later, a man in his 60s, dressed in a luxurious suit, entered the venue with his attendant. They approached Harold and spoke to him with courteous demeanor.
"You must be Harold. We heard that today is your birthday. Congratulations. Please forgive us for this sudden visit."
Harold seemed somewhat puzzled by the sudden arrival of guests, but he didn't seem entirely displeased.
"I don't know who you are, but thanks for coming all this way to offer your congratulations. By the way, who might you be?"
Accompanied by a chauffeur-driven luxury car and an attendant, it was evident that they were not ordinary individuals. While it seemed apparent that they were not ordinary, Harold assumed a somewhat haughty attitude even before knowing who they were. Although the attendant frowned, the person who approached Harold responded with a courteous demeanor.
"I apologize for the rudeness. My name is Harry Simpson,"
he said, taking out his business card and handing it to Harold. Harold, who had been examining it with one hand, suddenly turned pale. Then, he quickly stood up and bowed deeply.
"Welcome, please come in. We'll prepare a seat for you right away, so please wait a moment."
"What's going on?" Harold seems flustered as he gives some instructions. Harold, who usually acts more important than anyone else, must be dealing with someone quite influential if he's being so obsequious. As I ponder who it might be, another luxury car pulls into the parking lot.
"It looks like she's arrived. Bring her over."
With his instruction, one of his attendants heads to the parking lot. I'm watching the situation unfold, wondering what's going on, when an unexpected person appears. It's the woman I met on my way here? Who could she be? She enters the venue and seems to be talking to the apparent VIP.
"Is that man in this venue?"
I'm not sure. According to what I heard on the phone, he should be, but, oh.
When our eyes meet as she scans the surroundings, she lets out a cry and hurries over to me.
Thank you so much earlier. I'm sorry I couldn't even thank you properly. I'm Megan Simpson.
No, it seems you weren't badly injured. That's a relief. As I nervously respond, the man Megan spoke to earlier approaches us slowly.
I am Harry, Megan's father. It seems you helped my daughter when she was in an accident. Thank you.
So Harry thanked me. I just happened to be there by chance. Anyway, it's fortunate that she wasn't seriously injured. As we're having this exchange, Harold rushes over in a fluster.
Hey, you're still here. A useless person like you shouldn't casually talk to someone important. Just go home.
Harold's words helped me regain my composure. Right. This is Harold's party venue, and I've been ordered to leave. While I'd like to chat with her slowly, it's out of place for me to be here. From Harold's attitude, I can tell these people are important figures in business. However, it was a bad place to meet. I tried to leave, but Harry addressed Harold with a voice tinged with anger.
Do you always speak like that, especially to the person who saved my daughter's life, of all people?
Harold, in his defense, replied to the stern-faced Harry.
Not at all. Considerate communication towards others is consistent in both work and private life. However, this guy is unreliable and can't even keep time. He showed up late again today.
By the way, Harold asked Harry,
Who is this man who supposedly saved your daughter's life? Has something happened? I hope this guy hasn't been rude.
Harry sighed as he explained,
He's the one who saved my daughter after the accident just now. I'm sure that's why he was late. Yet, he seems to have been treated poorly. I apologize to you as well. Please forgive him.
Harold hastily interjected.
Is that so? There are reasons for being late. I see. Well, his company has a habit of missing deadlines anyway.
Harry seemed to have something to say, but he didn't specifically address Harold. Then, Harry turned to me again and began preparing to hand me his business card, so I prepared mine as well. When I looked at what he handed me, I was speechless. Harry was a director at a major automotive manufacturer. Thank you for your continuous support. As it happens, the parts we produce at our company are ultimately used as part of your company's cars.
Of course, I'm aware. When Megan showed me your business card, I thought it was a curious connection.
Despite being an employee of a small subcontractor, Harry spoke to me very politely. Such an unexpected offer came from Harry.
Your company provides parts smoothly, allowing us to keep our production lines running. I wonder, could we have a proper discussion next time? I'd like to align with what you offer in terms of parts procurement and unit prices. Thanks to you, our performance is improving.
I restrained the urge to jump with joy. Thank you very much. Actually, we've been struggling recently with proposed changes in wholesale prices. Please allow me to discuss it with you. We'll do our best to accommodate your needs.
Is that so? You seem to supply parts to Harold's company, but everywhere seems to be in a tough situation.
I deliberately explained in front of Harold how we were being unreasonably pressured. Suddenly, Harry's face turned red, muttering something like, "Are you ridiculing subcontractors?" Harold's face turned pale as he looked down. I told Harry in a resolute tone, "But it's fine. We were just told that the contract will be terminated early. We'll think about changing our strategy and try our best to contribute to your company."
Wait a minute. That's got to be a joke, right? Surely, you're not taking it seriously.
Harry sharply retorted to Harold, who was trying to smooth things over.
Is there room for such jokes in business dealings? Seems like we also need to reconsider our business partners. The speed at which a company loses trust can be as fast as a snowball rolling off a cliff. I'll bring this up at the next meeting's agenda.
Harold appealed to Harry in a cold sweat.
But please, give me another chance. I haven't slacked off in my work at all.
I have a feeling about where your company is headed from here on out. Sorry for dropping by unexpectedly. Happy birthday.
Harry said before leaving with his assistant. Before following suit, Megan winked and smiled at me. I waved lightly at her before parting ways. Finally, the day came when I would meet Harry for a business discussion. With encouragement from the employees that bordered on begging, I headed to the dinner meeting. Meeting with someone like Harold is a first for our company. Today's dinner will determine the future of our company. In a way, I hold the fate of the company in my hands. The pressure is immense, but I resign myself to whatever may come and head to the agreed-upon location.
Sorry to keep you waiting. I really appreciate what you did the other day.
Not at all. Thank you for taking the time to meet. As Harold enters, I stand up to greet him. Along with Harold, Megan is present today as his assistant.
I brought her along for some real-world experience. I hope she's not a bother.
Thank you for the other day. I will join with my father today.
Of course, no problem, I reply, though as I look at Megan's face, I can feel my heart racing. I never thought I'd see her again, but seeing her face somehow fills me with joy. Without lingering on it, we quickly move on to the main topic after a modest meal. This is the condition presented by Harold's company the other day. To be honest, the cost doesn't match up with this, and it's not profitable for us, so I want to figure something out. I explained while showing the documents attached to the email from Harold. Harry seemed unable to hide his surprise when he looked at the documents.
This is terrible. Are they mocking subcontractors? We'll arrange for a new wholesaler, if necessary. We can even send it directly to our subsidiary without intermediaries, and both cost and unit price should be significantly improved.
It seems like he has a thorough understanding of business operations and cost management. After briefly explaining possible production and processing routes to me, Harry said with a calm expression,
I actually took a look at your company. You're doing really good work, and you have a great corporate culture. I feel reassured that we can continue our long-term partnership. If a company like yours were to run into financial trouble, it would be a setback for us too. You don't need to worry about the future.
Hearing Harry's reassuring words, I was almost moved to tears. Megan watched over me with a smile. Thank you very much. I don't even know how to express my gratitude.
No need for thanks at all. Your company's contribution is just what our company needs. To be honest, we've been receiving deliveries at low rates without proper appreciation. I apologize for that.
With that, I was able to successfully conclude the dinner meeting. Feeling proud, I returned to the company, where the employees gathered around me. They seemed curious about the outcome of the dinner meeting, but I confidently conveyed the future direction. As applause erupted from the employees, one person approached me with a worried expression, avoiding eye contact. It was Harold. Why was Harold here? Feeling suspicious, some of the employees seemed to know the reason and whispered to me, well, listen to him. With caution, I invited Harold into the meeting room. How unusual. What brings you here? Our company and Harold's company no longer had any business dealings. I wondered why he was here. As I pondered, Harold suddenly apologized to me.
I'm truly sorry. Please forgive my past rudeness.
What happened?
Well,
Harold began, tears welling up in his eyes as he explained. The gist of Harold's explanation was as follows. When our company outsourced the parts we had been supplying to another company, it resulted in lower quality, higher costs, and became a concern within the company. Furthermore, it took more than twice the time we had originally estimated for delivery, leading to a visible decline in profits. However, despite these difficulties, we had our contract terminated. Even if he were to come begging now, we couldn't afford to help, nor did we have the capacity to do so. That sounds tough, but haven't you been expanding your business and improving performance in other areas recently? It seems unnecessary to consult with underperforming subcontractors like us. Harold's expression darkened at my words.
well, the truth is, almost all of our businesses are coming to a halt. We have many defective products. We suddenly hired people and invested in facilities, but efficiency hasn't improved. On top of that, contracts are being terminated, and it's becoming a serious problem.
It seems like the new business had a good start, but the good times didn't last long. Due to the drastic changes made, the loans received were enormous, and we can't afford to lay off employees recklessly. We're also being pressured by the bank to repay the loans, and we're stuck in a vicious cycle of borrowing more funds to repay the debt. Harold's company is truly in dire straits.
Please, I beg you, could you wholesale parts to us at the same price as before?
Well, even if you say that, we've secured new contracts as well. I can't reveal all the details, but the scale is completely different. I briefly explained the contract I had with Harry. The order fee is much higher than what Harold's company used to wholesale, and the unit price is nearly double. Harold, realizing there's no room for negotiation, looked visibly disappointed. Harold's company is likely to face a management crisis if things continue like this. And all of this has happened within just 1 year since Harold became the president. When there's a change in management, the company's policies also changed. With changes in policy and the president's mindset, there will be new opportunities, but also relationships that need to be cut off. It's not an exaggeration to say that this is a moment that tests Harold's qualities as a president. While the president bears a significant responsibility for the current situation, I can't help but feel sorry for Harold. Well, let's see what we can do. Let's consider positively whether we can find new procurement sources and also deliver some goods from our side. And how about interesting some parts procurement to your company, since there are some parts we need? From a capital efficiency standpoint, and considering dealing with someone like Harold, it might not be the best move for the company's profits. However, alongside wanting to value Harold's company, which we've had a long-standing relationship with, there's also a desire to trust him once again. Harold's expression brightened as he listened to my words, and he shook my hand firmly to the point of pain.
Thank you. Let's continue to work together for a long time to come.
His demeanor, so different from the other day, piqued my interest, whether for better or worse. In exchange, I'll be asking for quality parts. And keep in mind, our delivery deadlines are tight. Harold momentarily stiffened, but then replied firmly, "We will do our best." Perhaps Harold, who had been belittling subcontractors, was able to cool his head a bit now. After conveying that we'll be in touch again, I asked Harold to leave. Of course, I'd never impose unreasonable demands like Harold did. I was just teasing. I wanted to say, but decided against it. If it weren't for meeting Harry and Meghan, I wonder where I'd been now. Thinking about it, I feel grateful for the miraculous encounters. Several years after that incident, the small subcontracting factory-turned-company grew rapidly, with its market capitalization swelling to over 10 times its initial value. While it's still not a large corporation, the fact that it's going public was something unimaginable just a few years ago. And my own position has changed significantly.
New President, Aaron. We will do our best to help your company and look forward to working with you in the future.
Due to the president's declining health, despite my age, I was chosen as the new president. I've dedicated myself to the company all these years, and it seems my efforts have been recognized. I'm happy myself, but it's also a relief to see the employees so delighted. On the day I was appointed as the new president, Harold came to visit me to offer his greetings. It used to be the other way around, with me visiting Harold. But things have changed a lot in these past few years. We managed to acquire Harold's struggling company once again, successfully turning it around and even expanding operations by setting up new factories. Now, not only do we supply parts to automobile manufacturers, but we also have new sales channels through researching and developing our own products. Establishing our position further as a reputable brand and gaining trust and peace of mind from customers will be crucial going forward. Both the company and I are entering a new phase now. As the head of the organization, I'll likely be faced with many significant decisions in the future. While initiating new projects, I also intend to consider our clients and enhance employee benefits. This company is still in its developmental stages and will continue to grow further. No, it must grow further. With that sense of mission, I embarked on my journey as the president. One more thing has changed. I've become so busy that I can't even manage my schedule, so I've been assigned a secretary. That secretary is Megan. There was a direct negotiation from Harry himself to hire Megan as my secretary. Despite feeling somewhat awkward about it, her strong desire to work here led to her being hired. Her performance is outstanding. She anticipates tasks, manages schedules, and her flawless time management skills are invaluable. But above all, having her around is also a source of emotional support. At the end of one day's work, Megan said something strange to me.
Aaron, could we have dinner together after this? I already have dinner reservations.
Her expression was unusual, making me feel a bit uneasy. I tilted my head and asked, "What's wrong? No need to be so formal. I'm free afterward, so let's go together. Thanks for making the reservation."
Okay, I'll get back to you later then.
With a slight blush on her cheeks, Megan left the room after informing me of the place and time. There seemed to be something she wanted to talk about. But what could Megan be thinking? As someone with little experience with women, I often struggled to understand how to interact with the women. Perhaps I'm just overthinking it. Anyway, her contribution has been significant in the success of our current business. As a gesture of appreciation, I'll treat her to a dinner. It's also one of the important duties as a boss. I pretended not to notice my growing anticipation for the dinner ahead and began preparing to head home.